In the years after World War II, Germany was struggling to rebuild. The economy was in pieces, factories were either destroyed or repurposed, and everyday people were trying to get back on their feet. For many small business owners, farmers, and craftsmen, transportation was a serious problem. They needed something affordable, simple, and reliable. Cars and trucks were too expensive for many, and fuel was still rationed in some areas. This is where a lesser-known but highly practical vehicle came into play: the Goliath GD750. Built by the Goliath Company, a division of the Borgward Group, this small three-wheeled truck helped countless businesses keep running in the harsh post-war years. The Goliath GD750 was first introduced in April 1949. It was designed as an economical solution for commercial transport, especially for those who needed to haul cargo but couldn't afford a full-size truck. The name GD750 had a specific meaning. The G stood for Goliath, D stood for Dreirad, meaning three-wheeler in German, and 750 referred to its payload capacity of 750 pounds. Goliath was one of several brands owned by Carl F.W. Borgward, an automotive engineer and businessman who played a major role in Germany's automobile industry. The Borgward Group was known for making affordable, practical vehicles, and the GD750 fit perfectly into their lineup. The truck had an unusual three-wheeled layout, with a single front wheel and two rear wheels. This design wasn't new. Several manufacturers had experimented with similar setups before, but it was chosen for one key reason: cost. A three-wheeled vehicle required fewer materials, had lower production costs, and in some cases could be classified as a motorcycle for tax and licensing purposes. This made the GD750 much cheaper than a regular four-wheeled truck. The frame of the GD750 was built using a U-profile V-shaped steel structure, which provided a strong yet lightweight foundation. The cab had a very basic design with a single bench seat for the driver and one passenger. It was enclosed to protect from bad weather, but there was nothing fancy about it. The dashboard was minimal, with just the necessary gauges and switches. Ventilation was handled by a simple manually operated window. The truck's focus was on function over comfort. Under the hood, the GD750 was powered by a water-cooled two-cylinder, two-stroke engine. The base model had a displacement of 396 cubic centimeters and produced between 13 and 14.5 horsepower at 4,000 revolutions per minute. It wasn't much, but it was enough for a small vehicle designed for city deliveries and light hauling. A larger 494cc engine was also available, producing 16 horsepower. This upgrade cost an additional 75 Deutsche Marks. Both engine options were paired with a constant mesh 4-speed manual gearbox that sent power to the rear wheels through a Cardan shaft. The truck had a top speed of about 31 to 34 miles per hour, which was sufficient for its intended use. One of the key selling points of the GD750 was its rear-wheel drive setup. Unlike some of its competitors, which used front-wheel drive, the GD750's rear-wheel drive offered better traction when carrying heavy loads. Goliath heavily advertised this advantage, especially in snowy or muddy conditions. The front suspension used a single control arm with a semi-elliptic spring, while the rear had a live axle supported by semi-elliptic leaf springs. Early models had mechanical brakes, but in 1953, Goliath switched to hydraulic brakes, which improved stopping power significantly. The GD750 came in different size configurations. The wheelbase options were 116 inches and 132 inches, with a track width of either 55 inches or 63 inches. The overall length depended on the configuration, with three options: 174 inches, 183 inches, and 203 inches. The width options were 68 inches, 70 inches, 76 inches, or 79 inches, while the height was always 65 inches. The weight of the truck varied from 1,532 pounds to 1,785 pounds, depending on the model. The total permissible weight ranged from 3,210 pounds to 3,858 pounds. The GD750 was available in 26 different body styles, making it highly versatile. There were flatbeds, box trucks, livestock transporters, and even mobile shop versions. This made it useful for a wide range of professions, from bakers and butchers to farmers and street vendors. The flatbed version was the most common since it allowed for easy loading and unloading of cargo. The enclosed box body was popular for businesses that needed to protect goods from the elements. The livestock transporter version had special enclosures to safely carry animals. There were even specialty versions built for postal service and fire departments. Fuel efficiency was another major advantage. The GD750 consumed about 7 liters of fuel per 100 miles, which is roughly 40 miles per gallon. For business owners who had to watch their expenses, this was a crucial factor. Initially, the truck came with a 6-volt 90-watt generator, but later models had a 6-volt 130-watt generator to handle increased electrical demands. The affordability of the GD750 was a big part of its appeal. In 1949, the base model flatbed was priced at 3,600 Deutsche Marks. At the time, that was significantly cheaper than a full-size truck, making it an attractive option for small businesses. The price varied depending on the body style and optional features, but even the most expensive versions remained within reach for many buyers. The GD750 was marketed heavily against competitors like the Tempo Matador. Goliath ran ads emphasizing its superior traction and reliability. To prove its durability, Goliath even built a special high-performance version using GD750 components and set 38 world records at the Montlhéry racetrack in France in 1951. This vehicle averaged 155 miles per hour over 2 hours, an impressive feat for a 3-wheeled commercial truck. Production of the GD750 lasted until 1955, with approximately 30,093 units built. By that time, the German economy had improved, and demand for larger, more powerful trucks was growing. The GD750 remained in use for many years after production ended, especially in rural areas where affordable transport was still needed. Today, it is considered a rare and interesting piece of automotive history. Collectors and vintage vehicle enthusiasts seek out surviving examples, often restoring them to their original condition. The Goliath GD750 played a crucial role in post-war Germany. It provided a simple, cost-effective solution for businesses trying to recover during tough economic times. Its lightweight design, decent cargo capacity, and fuel efficiency made it an ideal work vehicle for thousands of people. While it may not be as well known as some other classic vehicles, its impact on the commercial vehicle market cannot be ignored. It is a reminder of a time when practicality and affordability were the most important factors in transportation. In the late 1970s, Volkswagen was expanding its lineup to reach a wider audience. The company had already made a strong impression with the Golf, known as the Rabbit in North America, but there was a growing demand for compact trucks. American buyers needed something practical, efficient, and affordable, yet capable of carrying loads like traditional pickups. Volkswagen saw an opportunity and decided to take one of their most successful small cars and turn it into a pickup truck. The result was the Volkswagen Rabbit Pickup, introduced in 1979 for the 1980 model year. It was built in the United States at the Westmoreland Assembly Plant in Pennsylvania. This was the first time Volkswagen manufactured vehicles in the U.S., which was a strategic move to avoid import tariffs. The truck was based on the Rabbit hatchback, but featured an extended wheelbase, a reinforced chassis, and a cargo bed that measured 6 feet long. The Rabbit Pickup came with a choice of engines. Initially, there was a 1.6-liter gasoline engine producing 78 horsepower and a 1.5-liter diesel engine rated at 52 horsepower. The diesel option was particularly attractive during the ongoing fuel crisis, as it offered impressive fuel economy. Later, Volkswagen introduced a 1.6-liter diesel and a 1.7-liter gasoline engine, both improving slightly on power and efficiency. Transmission options included a 4-speed manual and a 5-speed manual with an overdrive gear labeled E for economy. The truck's front end was nearly identical to the Rabbit hatchback, featuring rectangular headlights for the North American market. It retained the same front-wheel drive layout, which was unusual for a pickup, but made it more fuel-efficient and easier to handle in urban areas. At the rear, the cargo bed had double wall construction to prevent dents from showing through. The payload capacity was 1,103 pounds, and the truck could tow up to 1,500 pounds if the trailer had its own brakes. The suspension was tuned to handle heavier loads, with leaf springs and staggered shocks in the rear. Volkswagen offered different trim levels, including a base model and an LX version with more features. In 1981, the Sport Ruck package was introduced. This package included styled steel wheels, special decals, and a front air dam, giving the truck a sportier look. The interior was simple, with a basic dashboard and cloth or vinyl seats, but higher trims included additional features like a tachometer and upgraded upholstery. While the Rabbit Pickup was unique and practical, it never became a massive success in the U.S. market. Buyers who needed a work truck generally preferred larger, more powerful pickups from American brands, while those looking for a compact, fuel-efficient vehicle tended to stick with hatchbacks. Production in the U.S. ended in 1984, marking the end of the Rabbit Pickup era in North America. Meanwhile, Volkswagen saw potential for this small truck in other markets. In 1982, the company introduced it in Europe under a new name, the Volkswagen Caddy. The European Caddy was built in Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, at the TAS, Tvornica Automobila Sarajevo plant. While the basic structure remained the same, there were some differences. The European version had round headlights instead of the rectangular ones found on the North American model. Volkswagen also offered a fiberglass reinforced plastic box cap that turned the open bed into an enclosed cargo space, effectively converting the Caddy into a small panel van. The European market proved more receptive to the Caddy, especially among small business owners who needed an affordable utility vehicle. Volkswagen continued to produce the first-generation Caddy in Sarajevo until 1992. However, production was interrupted by the outbreak of the Bosnian War, which led to the closure of the factory. Despite this, the first-generation Caddy remained in use for many years, known for its durability and simple mechanics. Volkswagen continued to develop the Caddy after the first generation. In 1995, they introduced the second-generation Caddy, which was based on the Volkswagen Polo Mark III platform. Unlike the first model, this version was built in Spain at Seats factory in Martorell. It was no longer available as a pickup, but instead was offered as a panel van or with a covered cargo area. The third generation arrived in 2003, this time based on the Volkswagen Touran platform. This model was larger and offered more modern features, including new engine options and improved safety systems. The fourth generation, launched in 2015, introduced even more refinements such as a redesigned interior, more powerful engines, and updated technology. In 2020, Volkswagen unveiled the fifth-generation Caddy. This version was based on the MQB platform, which it shared with the Golf Mark 8. It featured a more aerodynamic design, a range of modern inline-4 engines, and advanced driver assistance systems. The fifth-generation Caddy also came in multiple configurations, including a passenger version, a cargo van, and a long wheelbase model called the Caddy Maxi. Despite its limited success in North America, the original Rabbit Pickup developed a dedicated following among enthusiasts. Today, well-preserved models are considered collectibles. Some owners have modified them with newer engines or restored them to factory condition. Car shows and online forums keep the Rabbit Pickup's legacy alive, and its unique combination of car-like handling and pickup practicality continues to attract interest. The Volkswagen Caddy, on the other hand, became a long-running success in Europe and other global markets. Over the years, it evolved into a highly versatile commercial vehicle, proving that Volkswagen's original idea of a compact, efficient pickup truck had long-term potential. The story of the Rabbit Pickup and the Caddy is one of adaptation. While the small truck struggled to find its place in North America, it found success in Europe and other parts of the world. Its journey from a niche experiment to a lasting nameplate in Volkswagen's lineup shows how a single idea can take different paths depending on the market. Whether remembered as the Rabbit Pickup in the US or the Caddy in Europe, its legacy remains. In the late 1970s, Ford and a small group of skilled craftsmen in Southern California took a chance on a new kind of vehicle. This was not a mass-produced truck or a sleek sports car, but something in between. The story begins with the Ford Fairmont Futura Coupe and a vision to create a pickup that filled a gap left by the old Ranchero. A team led by Jim Stevenson in Pacoima, California, along with support from National Coach Works in Los Angeles, reshaped a familiar car into a unique utility vehicle known as the Ford Durango. The Ford Durango began its life as an effort to replace the discontinued Ford Ranchero after 1979. Ford looked to the Fairmont Futura, a two-door coupe built on the new Fox platform, as the base for a vehicle that would combine the comfort of a car with a pickup's practicality. The conversion project took shape in Southern California, where Jim Stevenson and his sons, working out of their shop in Pacoima, made the first modifications. They removed the roof, trunk lid, and rear seats from the Fairmont Futura. In their place, they installed a new flat-floor cargo bed made of fiberglass and a new rear window placed above the front seats. This work created a vehicle that could carry a load while retaining a car's ride and handling. After the initial modifications were completed, the design was licensed to National Coach Works in Los Angeles, California. National Coach Works had the experience and facilities to turn a small number of custom conversions into semi-production vehicles. The Ford Durango was not intended as a full-scale production model, but as a limited-run vehicle that Ford could offer through its dealerships. Internal records and historical documents suggest that production took place mainly in 1981, with a few units also built in 1982. Although exact figures are hard to pin down, experts generally agree that around 212 units were made, with some estimates ranging between 200 and 350. These numbers make the Durango one of the rarest vehicles linked to the Ford name. The Durango was built on Ford's Fox platform. This platform was used for many models at Ford during the late 1970s and early 1980s, including the Ford Fairmont and Mercury Zephyr. The Fox platform allowed the Durango to share many components with other vehicles, keeping costs down and simplifying the design. The conversion maintained the front-engine rear-wheel drive layout that was standard in the Fairmont Futura. A 200 cubic-inch inline-six engine known as the Thrift Power 6 powered the Durango. This engine produced about 86 to 88 horsepower and worked with a 3-speed automatic transmission. The physical changes to the vehicle were significant. Starting at the B-pillar, the roof of the Fairmont Futura was cut away. The trunk lid and the rear seating area were removed, and the new cargo area was built in their place. The cargo bed was created using a fiberglass mold. The design included a flat floor to maximize the space available for carrying cargo. Additionally, a new rear window was installed to shield the cabin from wind and rain. The rear of the vehicle was given a new look with a redesigned tailgate. Unlike many other pickups, the Durango's tailgate was integrated into the rear fascia. This tailgate was designed to swing down, allowing access to the cargo bed. Importantly, the tailgate carried the factory taillights and the license plate, a design decision that required a warning in the sales literature. Drivers were advised not to drive with the tailgate in the down position because doing so would hide the lights and the plate. Inside the Durango, the interior was adjusted to reflect the new purpose of the vehicle. The removal of the rear seats meant that only 2 passengers could be carried in the front. A bulkhead was installed behind the front seats to provide a separation between the cabin and the cargo area. This bulkhead, though not designed as a safety barrier in the modern sense, added a measure of structural rigidity to the vehicle. Many details of the interior, such as the dashboard, seats, and steering system, remained unchanged from the Fairmont Futura, ensuring that the Durango continued to offer the driving characteristics familiar to Ford customers. The conversion process included the use of a fiberglass filler panel between the cargo bed and the tailgate. This panel was an innovative solution that allowed the tailgate hinges to be stored neatly when the tailgate was folded down. The filler panel not only created a smoother transition between the cargo area and the tailgate, but also helped to reinforce the overall structure of the rear end. Every aspect of the conversion was done with the aim of keeping the vehicle's production costs low while still providing a functional utility vehicle. Ford's decision to use the Fairmont Futura as a starting point meant that much of the design and many components were already proven and widely available. Production of the Ford Durango was never high volume. The project was always seen as a niche option, available only through a limited number of Ford dealerships in Southern California. The idea was to test the market for a car-based pickup that could serve the needs of customers who wanted a vehicle that was easier to drive than a full-size truck, yet still capable of carrying loads. While models like the Chevrolet El Camino continued to have a presence in the market, the Durango's production numbers remained very low. This limited production has contributed to its status as a rare vehicle. Today, only a handful of Durangos remain, and they are sought after by collectors and enthusiasts who appreciate the unique story behind the vehicle. The mechanical specifications of the Durango reflect its roots in the Fairmont Futura. The 200 cubic inch inline-six engine delivered power in a manner suitable for everyday driving. Paired with a 3-speed automatic transmission, the engine produced about 86 to 88 horsepower, with torque figures in the region of 154 pound-feet. Although these figures may seem modest by today's standards, they were in line with the expectations for mid-range vehicles of that era. The suspension and braking systems were carried over from the Fairmont Futura, meaning that the Durango inherited a ride quality and handling balance that had been well tested on other Fox platform vehicles. The Ford Durango's production took place at National Coach Works, a company located in Los Angeles, California. National Coach Works had a reputation for modifying vehicles and creating low-volume conversions. The workshop, located in the Los Angeles area, was ideally placed to work with Ford dealerships in Southern California. The conversion process was carried out using hand-fabricated sheet metal and fiberglass components. This process was labor-intensive and relied on the skill of the craftsmen in the shop. Records from National Coach Works indicate that the conversion process was streamlined as much as possible to allow for the production of a few hundred units without major disruptions to Ford's standard manufacturing lines. Many of the details of the Ford Durango have been passed down through first-hand accounts and interviews with individuals who worked on the project. Jim Stevenson and his sons have been mentioned in several interviews as key figures in the conversion process. Their workshop in Pacoima was where the initial modifications took place, and their work laid the foundation for the vehicle that would later be produced by National Coach Works. In addition, figures such as Dick Nesbitt and Hal Koch provided early design input and helped to secure the licensing agreement with National Coach Works. The cooperation between these individuals ensured that the project moved from an idea on paper to a real vehicle that was sold to customers. The Ford P100 is one of those vehicles that many have heard about, but few know all the details. It was a workhorse, designed for utility, built from a mix of Ford's sedan parts and a rugged rear chassis for hauling. It started in South Africa, but later made its way to Europe, becoming an unusual mix of practicality and familiarity. What makes this truck stand out isn't just its capabilities, but the way it evolved over time. It started with the Cortina, then shifted to the Sierra, always carrying over elements from Ford's passenger cars, while keeping the ability to carry over 2,200 pounds in the back. But while it filled a niche, it never saw the mainstream success of Ford's larger pickups. Today, we're going to dig into its history, from its origins to its final years, and why it has become a cult favorite for certain enthusiasts. Ford introduced the P100 in 1971 for the South African market. At that time, the country had a strong demand for light utility vehicles that could handle both city streets and rugged rural roads. The first version of the P100 was based on the Ford Cortina Mark III. The front of the truck was nearly identical to the Cortina sedan, sharing the same headlights, grille, and bumper. However, instead of a trunk, it had a pickup bed, making it useful for transporting goods. The doors of the P100 came from the two-door Cortina sedan, giving it a vertical rear window that was different from most small pickups. Buyers could choose between different rear bed styles, including a flat deck or a well-side design that featured the taillights from the Cortina estate wagon. A fiberglass canopy was also available for those who needed a covered cargo area. In 1977, Ford updated the P100 to match the new Cortina Mark IV. The overall layout remained the same, but the cab was redesigned with shorter front doors taken from the four-door Cortina sedan. Then, in 1980, it was updated again, this time using the front-end design from the Cortina Mark V. In South Africa, this model was known as the Ford One Tonner, reflecting its ability to carry around 2,200 pounds in the bed. Ford continued producing the one-tonner in South Africa until 1986, when it was replaced by the Mazda-based Ford Courier. The Courier, unlike the P100, was a more traditional pickup, offering both rear-wheel drive and four-wheel drive options. However, the P100 had one last chapter to write in another part of the world. In 1982, Ford started exporting the P100 to Europe. These trucks were shipped from South Africa but featured a longer chassis and tray to meet the demands of European customers. By this point, the Cortina was being phased out in favor of the newer Sierra, but Ford still found demand for a small car-based pickup. The P100 continued using the Cortina Mark V styling until 1988. One notable variation released during this period was the high-cap version in 1986. This model had a taller roof, modified door tops, and a more upright windshield, making it stand out from the earlier versions. It was still based on the Cortina, but Ford was already planning a major change for the P100. In 1988, Ford introduced an all-new P100 with a cab based on the Ford Sierra. The new version was no longer produced in South Africa. Instead, manufacturing shifted to Portugal, where Ford set up a facility to build it specifically for the European market. This was a significant change, as the Sierra had a much more aerodynamic shape compared to the boxy Cortina. The Sierra-based P100 featured two main engine options. The base model came with a 2.0-liter Pinto carbureted gasoline engine. This was a low-compression version of the 205 block Pinto, which was the same engine block used in the turbocharged Ford Cosworth models. It produced around 74 horsepower and was tuned more for torque rather than high-speed performance. A 1.8-liter turbo diesel engine was also available for those who wanted better fuel economy. Although the front end looked like the Sierra, the P100's chassis was very different. The front section was a unibody design, while the rear used a separate ladder frame chassis to handle heavy loads. The rear suspension used multi-leaf springs and a solid rear axle borrowed from the short wheelbase Ford Transit 80 van. To accommodate the extra weight capacity, the P100 also featured 5 stud wheels, unlike the Sierra's 4-stud design. The transmission was a lower ratio version of the Ford Type 9 gearbox. This was the same transmission used in some earlier Transit vans. While Ford had updated the Sierra with a new MT75 gearbox in 1989, the P100 stuck with the Type 9 because the MT75 wasn't compatible with the pickup's live axle setup. The Sierra-based P100 found its strongest market in the UK. British buyers appreciated its mix of car-like comfort and pickup utility. It was especially popular among small businesses and tradespeople who needed a light-duty truck that didn't feel as cumbersome as a full-size pickup. The P100 also gained attention from car enthusiasts who saw its potential for modification. Since the 2.0-liter Pinto engine shared its block with the Cosworth turbocharged models, many owners swapped in high-performance parts to boost power. Others modified their P100S with lowered suspension, aftermarket wheels, and body kits to give them a more aggressive stance. This helped the truck develop a niche following, particularly in the UK's car tuning scene. Production of the P100 ended in 1995, marking the end of its unique place in Ford's lineup. Ford didn't directly replace it with another car-based pickup. Instead, the market shifted toward compact and mid-sized trucks like the Ford Ranger, which offered more traditional pickup designs with greater versatility. Despite being discontinued, the P100 remains a cult favorite among Ford enthusiasts. The Cortina-based models are particularly rare today, especially in original condition. Many were used heavily as work trucks, meaning few have survived without rust or significant wear. The Sierra-based models are more common, and their popularity in the tuning scene has kept interest alive. The Ford P100 is an example of a vehicle that served a specific purpose and evolved with the times. From its beginnings in South Africa to its final years in Europe, it was always a practical, no-nonsense truck built for utility. While it may not have been the most famous Ford pickup, it holds a special place in automotive history. Enthusiasts continue to keep the P100 alive, whether through restorations, engine swaps, or creative modifications that push its limits beyond what Ford originally intended. In the evolving landscape of mid-sized trucks, few vehicles tell a story as compelling as the Nissan Junior. From 1956 to 1982, this robust pickup truck carved its own niche in automotive history, positioning itself perfectly between Nissan's smaller Datsun trucks and their larger Nissan diesel counterparts. The Junior wasn't just another truck. It was a testament to Nissan's ability to adapt and innovate in the post-war automotive industry. The story begins in October 1956 when Nissan unveiled the Junior B40. This wasn't just a random creation, it was the product of a significant partnership between Nissan and the Austin Motor Company, formed through a technological cooperation agreement in December 1953. The first Junior B40 packed a 1.5-liter OHV four-cylinder engine that produced 50 horsepower. While these numbers might seem modest by today's standards, they were quite impressive for the era. The truck's robust design included a separate ladder chassis with leaf springs on both front and rear, capable of handling up to 3,858 pounds of payload. Its 16-inch split-rim wheels weren't just for show. They were essential for supporting the truck's impressive load-carrying capacity. By December 1957, Nissan expanded their lineup with the C40 Nissan Junior Cabal. This cab-over-engine variant shared the same mechanical heart as the B40, but offered a different body style, showing Nissan's commitment to meeting diverse customer needs. The evolution continued in August 1958 with the introduction of the B42 model, which featured an upgraded version of the 1.5-liter engine now producing 57 horsepower. This wasn't just about power. It was about staying competitive in an increasingly demanding market. The second generation of the Nissan Junior, launched in January 1962, marked a significant leap forward. Known as the 40 Series, it showcased a more modern design with integrated fenders and 4 horizontally arranged headlights. The wheelbase stretched to 110 inches, improving both stability and load capacity. The N40, the entry-level version, maintained the 71 horsepower 1.5-liter G engine from its predecessor. But the real game-changer was the introduction of a new 1.9-liter version that could reach speeds up to 68 miles per hour, making it the first medium-sized truck capable of carrying 4,409 pounds. The 40 Series wasn't just about hauling cargo. In July 1962, Nissan introduced the F40 fire truck variant, showcasing the platform's versatility. The lineup expanded to include the 40E, just a bonnet and windshield, the 40A, cab with chassis, and the 40H, drop side to pickup. The FR40 and A1 class fire engine combined the 680 series heavy truck chassis with a powerful 125 horsepower 4-liter 6-cylinder P engine. By 1966, the Junior evolved into the 41 series, featuring an upgraded 2.0-liter engine producing 92 horsepower and reaching speeds up to 75 miles per hour. The diesel variant, known as the Q41, continued to serve markets where fuel efficiency was paramount. Export versions boasted 99 horsepower, showing Nissan's commitment to international markets. The third and final generation, introduced in 1970, marked a pivotal moment in the Junior's history. Known as the 140 or 141 series, it emerged from the merger between Nissan and Prince Motor Company. This generation featured the H20 engine, a 2.0-liter inline-4 producing around 99 horsepower. The SD22 diesel variant became particularly popular in Southeast Asia and the Middle East, where reliability and efficiency were crucial. Perhaps one of the most interesting chapters in the Junior's story unfolded in Iran. In 1970, the Zamyad company began producing the truck locally as the Zamyad Z24. This Iranian version of the Junior outlived its Japanese counterpart, continuing production long after the original ceased in 1982. This remarkable longevity speaks volumes about the Junior's practical design and ease of maintenance. Throughout its 26-year run, the Nissan Junior proved itself as more than just a utility vehicle. It was a bridge between different market segments, a pioneer in its class, and a testament to Japanese engineering prowess. From its humble beginnings as a licensed Austin design to its final form as a globally recognized medium-duty truck, the Junior adapted to changing times while maintaining its core identity. The truck's influence extended far beyond Japan's borders, finding homes in diverse markets across Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and South America. Its simple yet effective design made it a favorite among small businesses and municipal fleets alike. Even today, decades after production ceased in Japan, the Junior's legacy lives on through the continued production of its derivatives in other parts of the world. The story of the Nissan Junior is more than just a chronicle of automotive evolution. It's a testament to how thoughtful engineering and adaptability can create a lasting impact in the automotive world. While it may not have been the fastest or most powerful truck of its era, the Junior's combination of reliability, versatility, and practical design earned it a special place in automotive history. In the remote mountains of Romania, a unique vehicle was born, one that would challenge the dominance of Western automotive giants. The year was 1980, and while the world was focused on luxury cars and muscle machines, Auto Romania quietly unleashed the ARO-10 pickup. The story begins in 1980 when Auto Romania, commonly known as ARO, introduced the ARO-10 pickup to meet the growing demand for versatile vehicles that could handle both city streets and rough terrain. This compact off-roader drew inspiration from some of Europe's notable designs, including the Renault Rodeo and Citroën Mahari, but carved out its own unique identity in the automotive landscape. The ARO-10 pickup's design philosophy centered on simplicity and functionality. At its heart was a range of engines that offered different personalities to suit various needs. The entry-level 1.3-liter petrol engine produced 54 horsepower, making it suitable for basic transportation needs. For those seeking more power, the 1.4-liter petrol engine stepped up the game with 62 horsepower, while the more robust 1.6-liter petrol engine delivered an impressive 106 horsepower, transforming the humble pickup into a more capable performer. Diesel options weren't forgotten either. The 1.6-liter diesel engine, while matching the base petrol engine's 54 horsepower, offered improved fuel efficiency. The larger 1.9-liter diesel engine packed 94 horsepower, providing a sweet spot between performance and economy. These engines worked in harmony with either 4-speed or 5-speed manual transmissions, allowing drivers to tackle various terrains with confidence. The ARO-10 pickup's performance figures tell an interesting story. Depending on the engine choice, it could reach top speeds between 68 and 87 miles per hour. Fuel consumption varied, with city driving using between 19 and 20 miles per gallon, while highway driving improved to between 23 and 29 miles per gallon. Size-wise, the ARO-10 pickup was designed to be manageable yet practical. The length ranged from 151 inches to 188 inches, while the width stayed consistent at around 65 inches. Height varied between 65 and 71 inches, providing good ground clearance for off-road adventures. The wheelbase stretched from 94 to 104 inches, offering stability across different model variants. The vehicle's weight ranged from 2,756 to 3,252 pounds, striking a balance between durability and efficiency. One of the most interesting aspects of the ARO-10 pickup story is its international presence. In the United Kingdom, it wore the Dacia Duster badge, appealing to British buyers looking for an affordable off-road vehicle. The Italian chapter of the ARO-10 story is particularly fascinating. In the 1980s, local company Alitiemi, or ACM, assembled the vehicle and sold it as the ARO Super Ischia, equipped with a 1.4-liter Renault petrol engine. Later, from 1987 to 1989, models featuring Volkswagen's 1.6-liter engines, both petrol and diesel, were marketed as the ARO Enduro X4. In Spain, the vehicle was known as the ARO Dacia, catering to the Spanish market's appetite for versatile off-road vehicles. The interior of the ARO-10 pickup reflected its practical nature. With seating for up to 5 passengers, the cabin featured a straightforward dashboard design with essential controls within easy reach. The vehicle's suspension system used coil springs, both front and rear, providing a reasonable balance between comfort and capability. The braking system combined front disc brakes with rear drum brakes, ensuring adequate stopping power across various driving conditions. What made the AR-010 pickup particularly interesting was its relationship with other Romanian vehicles. It shared several components with the Dacia 1300, including the engine and front axle. This part sharing wasn't just about cost cutting, it made maintenance and repairs more straightforward for owners. The AR-010 pickup's production run lasted until 2006, spanning 26 years of continuous development and improvement. During this period, it proved itself as a capable workhorse in various settings, from urban delivery duties to rural farming applications. The vehicle's fuel tank capacity of 12 to 13 gallons provided a decent range between fill-ups, making it practical for both daily use and longer journeys. The legacy of the AR-010 pickup extends beyond its production years. It represents a significant chapter in Romania's automotive history, showcasing the country's ability to produce vehicles that could compete in international markets while meeting local needs. The AR-010 pickup wasn't just a vehicle, it was a testament to practical engineering and adaptability in an ever-changing automotive landscape. In the bustling port city of Bremen, Germany, a remarkable story of automotive innovation began in 1928. Two visionary entrepreneurs, Karl F. W. Borgward and Wilhelm Tecklenburg, established Goliath Borgward & Company, a company that would later create one of the most innovative commercial vehicles of the post-war era, the Goliath 1100 pickup. The story of Goliath is deeply intertwined with Germany's tumultuous 20th century history. As World War II drew to a close, the nation lay in ruins, its economy shattered, and its people desperate for reliable transportation. Goliath, operating as part of the larger Borgward Group, initially responded to these challenges by producing simple yet effective vehicles like the GP700 and GP900. These early models featured basic two-stroke engines perfectly suited to the austere conditions of post-war Germany. By the mid-1950s, Germany was experiencing an unprecedented economic recovery. The streets of cities like Bremen were buzzing with activity as businesses flourished and trade resumed. Recognizing the changing times, Goliath's engineers began work on a more sophisticated vehicle that would meet the evolving needs of German entrepreneurs and traders. The result was the Goliath 1100 series, launched in 1957. The 1100 pickup represented a quantum leap in automotive technology. At its heart was a revolutionary four-stroke boxer engine, a significant departure from the simpler two-stroke engines of the past. This water-cooled power plant displaced 1,094 cubic centimeters and generated 40 horsepower at 4,500 revolutions per minute. While these numbers might seem modest today, they were impressive for a commercial vehicle of that era. The boxer engine's unique design, with cylinders arranged in opposing pairs, provided exceptional balance and reduced vibration, crucial features for a working vehicle. The engineering innovations didn't stop at the engine. The Goliath 1100 pickup featured a sophisticated 4-speed manual transmission that provided smooth, reliable gear changes even under heavy loads. The gear ratios were carefully calculated to provide optimal performance, whether the vehicle was navigating steep Bremen hills or cruising along the emerging German Autobahn network at its top speed of 75 miles per hour. Perhaps the most forward-thinking aspect of the 1100 pickup was its front-wheel drive system. This configuration was revolutionary for commercial vehicles of the 1950s. By eliminating the traditional driveshaft, Goliath's engineers created a completely flat cargo floor, maximizing the vehicle's utility. The front-wheel drive layout also provided superior traction on wet cobblestone streets and snowy German winters. The Goliath 1100 pickup's dimensions were carefully considered for maximum practicality. With an overall length of 158 inches, width of 64 inches, and height of 57 inches, it could navigate narrow European streets while still offering generous cargo capacity. The 89-inch wheelbase provided a stable platform for heavy loads, while the innovative suspension system enhanced both comfort and capability. The suspension design was particularly noteworthy. The front end employed a sophisticated combination of coil springs and wishbones, providing car-like comfort for the driver and passenger. The rear suspension used traditional leaf springs and a rigid axle, offering the durability needed for commercial use. This dual-purpose suspension system set the Goliath apart from its more rudimentary competitors. The vehicle's body design reflected German pragmatism. The passenger cabin, while basic, was thoughtfully arranged with clear instrumentation and comfortable seating for two. The cargo bed featured robust steel construction with durable sidewalls, making it ideal for everything from construction materials to agricultural products. The exterior design, with its distinctive round headlights and functional grille, became a familiar sight on German streets. The Goliath 1100 pickup was part of the broader Goliath Express lineup, which included panel vans and station wagons. These vehicles competed with offerings from established manufacturers like Volkswagen, DKW, and Tempo. The Goliath's combination of innovative engineering and practical design helped it carve out a loyal following among small business owners, tradespeople, and delivery services. Despite its technical excellence, the Goliath 1100 pickup faced significant challenges. The automotive industry of the early 1960s was becoming increasingly competitive, with larger manufacturers able to achieve economies of scale that smaller companies like Goliath couldn't match. The Borgward Group, despite its innovative products, struggled to maintain financial stability in this changing marketplace. The end came suddenly in 1961 when the Borgward Group declared bankruptcy. The closure of the Bremen factory marked the end of production for the Goliath 1100 pickup. However, the vehicle's influence lived on in numerous ways. Its front-wheel drive layout and boxer engine configuration would later be adopted by many other manufacturers. The practical design principles embodied in the 1100 pickup influenced commercial vehicle development for decades to come. Today, surviving examples of the Goliath 1100 pickup are prized by collectors and historians. They represent more than just vintage vehicles. They are artifacts of a crucial period in German history, when innovation and determination helped rebuild a nation. The story of the Goliath 1100 pickup is a testament to the ingenuity of Karl F.U. Borgward, Wilhelm Tecklenburg, and the countless engineers and workers who created this remarkable vehicle. From its innovative boxer engine to its revolutionary front-wheel drive system, from its practical dimensions to its thoughtful suspension design, the Goliath 1100 pickup represented the best of German engineering during the post-war recovery period.